Chances are, if you're watching this video, you're either new to PC gaming or you're just looking to build a budget setup. Or, maybe it just looked interesting. Whatever your reason is, I've got a fat stack of keyboards in front of me, and today I'm going to try and help you figure out what the best budget keyboard for you is. As always, I'll have all the products featured linked down below, so without further ado, let's get started. So first we're going to talk about what makes a keyboard a gaming keyboard. So this might actually come as a surprise to you guys, but a keyboard and a gaming keyboard are two very similar products. In fact, what defines a gaming keyboard is a little bit vague. When you're looking for a gaming keyboard, there are a couple things to look for, like anti-ghosting capabilities, which allows multiple keys to be pressed at the same time and still register. There's also things like actuation force, travel distance, actuation points, but we're not really going to worry about that stuff very much. As far as actual gaming performance goes, you aren't really going to notice a very big difference whether your keyboard costs $10 or $200, because for a lot of gamers, you're really just holding down WASD. Now, aside from that, some gaming keyboards might have macros or seizure-inducing RGB lights. But aside from that, all keyboards are going to function just about the same, as long as it's built decently. All of that out of the way, let's take a look at our first gaming keyboard. Hwah! A little anticlimactic, huh? If this reminds you of something you'd find in your school or library computer lab, that's because it is. This is the Dell RT7D50 membrane keyboard. Now wait just a second. You said you were going to show us gaming keyboards. Again, if you're on a budget, the best budget gaming keyboard is the cheapest well-built keyboard, and that's exactly what this is. So admittedly, this keyboard can be a little tricky to find online, but if you look at Goodwill and Craigslist, you can often pick this up for really cheap. You might have to do a little digging though. Now, as far as budget keyboards go, you don't have to get this one. What this represents though is either a cheap keyboard you can pick up or any keyboard you might already have. If you're building a budget setup, the keyboard isn't a very important part, and if you have to choose between using something you already have or using something that costs money but won't really help your performance, then just use what you have for now. This keyboard features two rubber pads on the bottom, which help it from, sliding around while you're using it. It's an all plastic construction, membrane switches, rubber cable coming out the front, and while it's pretty bare bones and simple, it definitely gets the job done. It's a solid, well-built keyboard for an affordable price. The next keyboard we're going to take a look at is the Logitech K120. This retails for about $15, and I'd consider it a step up over the Dell keyboard. Like the Dell keyboard, it has rubber pads on the bottom that keep it from sliding very much. But unlike the Dell, having a measly 2 rubber pads, this thing's equipped with 5 rubber pads, which keep it a lot more gripped to the desk. It grips the desk better. And on top of that, even the raised feet have rubber pads. So I'm not personally into that, but if you like using raised feet, it's still got you covered. It's not going to slide around because of that. Another thing that makes this a little bit more of a gaming keyboard is instead of one color, this has a gray and black two-tone look, which I think just looks a lot cooler. It's a lot less simple. It's a little bit spicier, if you know what I'm saying. Aside from that though, it's not a whole lot different. All plastic construction, rubber cable up top, we have ABS plastic keycaps and rubber dome switches. Still a pretty simple keyboard, but a little bit better than the Dell. And it might also be worth noting that Logitech claims this is spill resistant, whatever that means. So I guess if you're gaming in a dark room, since this doesn't have backlighting, you might knock over your Mountain Dew, and hopefully this will withstand that. One last thing different than the Dell is that this keyboard has smaller keycaps. You don't have to lift your wrist as high to type on it, which I appreciate, and for me, it gives a little bit better typing experience just with these smaller keycaps. The key travel is about the same distance, so it's not going to make you any faster per se, but I don't know, it's a different feel if you're into that sort of thing. And finally, the moment you've all been waiting for, we're going to get into RGB lighting with this next $30 budget keyboard. This beefy thing is the UTech Saturn, the cheapest RGB keyboard in this lineup. When someone says gaming keyboard, this is probably what a lot of you think of. This thing's got aggressive angles, a big twisty knob, extra buttons, multiple colors of LED backlighting, the whole 9 yards. This one even features media keys, which can be activated using the function keys F1 through F8 by holding down the function button and hitting the keys accordingly. Aside from that, this keyboard features an all plastic construction, and it does have rubber feet just on the bottom. Now, while the key switches are still just membrane, these ones in particular are relatively quiet. I actually prefer them over a mechanical or other membrane switch if I'm recording gameplay because it doesn't get in the mic so much. On top of that, we do have a braided cable coming out the front of the keyboard, and at the end of that we have a gold-plated USB. This is just a superior cable. It's going to last a lot longer than something like a rubber cable, and it doesn't get all like twisted up so much. So it's good stuff there. If LED lights are a must, I think this is the best affordable keyboard you can get, with plenty of presets to choose from. Now, if your budget is more than $30, but you're not quite ready to spend $100 on a Razer Corsair keyboard, then I think this next one is going to be the best bang for your buck option, and it might interest a lot of you. This is the Aukey Mechanical RGB keyboard, or more specifically, the Aukey KM-G3. This keyboard is a huge step up from any of the other keyboards I've shown you, and comes in at $65. Now, I realize that is a little bit spendy for a budget keyboard, but for that price tag, before you leave, there's a lot of features you might actually like. So, for that price, we are getting a metal backplate versus the all-plastic construction of other keyboards. That means this thing is going to have zero flex when typing in it. On top of that, the LED backlighting is RGB as well as programmable, per key backlighting. Pretty much what that means is each individual key can be colored to the color of your choosing. I could have worded that better. Hopefully you understand what I'm saying, but each individual key can be the color you'd like, and there's also plenty of presets to choose from if you don't want to do that. Now, the manufacturer Aukey was able to obtain this at such a low price point, but they had to cut some corners. So unlike with Razer and Corsair, there's not going to be any software that's going to allow you to just kind of draw what you want on your computer. It's a little bit clunkier than that. So to change each key's color, you have to go to a preset, so hit FN and 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, and once you've hit that, then you have to hit FN and then HM, the home button, and then you can choose the color of each key by doing this here. Kind of a pain, but once it's done, you won't have to change it again. Aside from that, we do have a rubber cable coming out the top. Not the best, but not a big deal as long as we're not too rough with our keyboard. On the back, we're going to have rubber feet on the bottom, none up top, but funny enough, there are some on the feet. So, if you like to type with raised feet, you're going to have a little bit more grip than someone who does not. And the last thing about this keyboard, and I kind of gave it away, I don't know if you heard earlier, but these are mechanical switches. More specifically, these are Otemo Blue mechanical switches. Without going into too much detail, a mechanical switch is a different type of switch, and it's just more tactile, it's a little bit louder, and it just feels a lot better than your typical rubber dome membrane key switch. And if anything happens to go wrong with this product, it is covered by an Aukey 24-month warranty, and I've actually had to contact them with another product before, and they were more than willing to help me out. Thank you all so much for watching. As always, all the products I showed will be linked in the description down below. If you liked the video, be sure to drop a like, and if you loved the video or it helped you out a lot, be sure to subscribe to the channel for more videos. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you all next time.